Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode where I'll be finishing up my installation for the Mopar high fender flares. And as you've seen from the previous episode, I've done the front two left and right fender flares and they look awesome. So today what we are going to do is we are going to work on Emily's JL Wrangler Rubicon again, take out her existing rear fenders, and then we'll be installing this set of Mopar high top fender flares for the rear. And like I say, these are Rubicon takeoffs that I got cheap from online. And with that being said, there are certain things that I need to actually purchase to make it a complete set. So one of them is actually this inner fender flare lining. As you can see, the tag is still here. So these are actually for the Rubicon because you cannot use back the existing fender flare lining in your normal fender flares. So let me put it aside, and now we'll go ahead to head to Emily's JL to remove the existing rear fender flares. It's an easy job, no bolts and nuts involved, only clips and more clips. So now let's head on to the car and let's work on the left side. Okay, so for the rear, there are no bolts, so as you can see here, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 push clips to actually remove. So today I've got my remover tool, so I'm going to go ahead to remove them now. So it's going to be a easy process. It's not going to be too complicated. Okay, that's one. And let me, okay, this is 2, and let me slot this behind. This is 3. Okay, there's 1 here. Let me get a good angle and a good grip. Okay, let me try to create some space for this trim remover to slide behind. Okay, there we go. And the other side. Okay, that's 4. Okay, there's 1 over here that's hidden. So let's get the 5th one out. Like say, you got to make sure that your trim remover tool goes behind the clips, and once you've positioned them in with the clips like that, all you have to do is just pry it out and it'll be out. So 1 more over here, that is number 7. Let me play around it. Okay. Oops, this is a little bit difficult, but it's okay. And last but not least, I think there's 1 here. And when there's 1 in the front, there's definitely 1 at the back over here. I'm not sure if the camera can capture it, but I'll go ahead to remove it. So, okay, so now we have removed all the push clips, and we will now go ahead to actually remove the inner lining. But before you do that, there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rivets that you actually need to remove. So removing the plastic rivets is equally easy. So what we got to do is, okay, let me show you. Just have to use this tool, pry it out. That's 1 rivet, okay, and then you have your 2nd rivet, 3rd rivet out, okay, 4th, 5th, and last but not least, your 6 rivets. So there are a total of 6 rivets that you have to remove. Okay, and once you are done, you can see that you can actually now pry open, okay, the inner liner, and there you go. You've got your rear left inner fender liner out. You'll put it one side. Okay, and now for the for the fender, as you can see, they are all made out of clips. They are being just like the front fenders, they are all being attached. You see the white clips over here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so of course I say there's a gentle way of doing things. Okay, just use a plier, go behind and squeeze the tabs and it will come out nicely. But like I say, we want it fast, so we are going to be prying it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to pry it out gently. Not gently, you need to use some force. The clips are rather tight. So let me, okay, that's, okay. And one last one. Okay, as you can see, most of the white clips are still on. We'll go ahead to remove them. Now let's leave this rear fender aside. And now we'll go ahead to actually remove these clips. Let me go grab myself a plier, which is just here. And what we'll do is reach out from behind. Okay, some of these clips they are not visible from the back. So you can see if you use a plier, it's actually very easily taken out. Okay, so same for here. Just squeeze and pull, it comes out nicely because the clips, all you have to do is use the pliers to actually squeeze these two tabs and it will come out. Okay, so for those of you who do not actually wish to destroy your clips, you can use this method. So for this, push it out. Okay. However, for the rear part of the holes, some of these holes like this and these holes, they are not accessible through the back because there's actually hidden inside a panel. So for these clips, we'll probably have to go ahead and pry them out using the plier. So we'll go ahead and pry them out. Okay. Just be very careful when you're doing this. Do not fall back. So just give me some time. Okay. And pry it out. Okay, as you can see, it's not easy. So maybe what we can actually do here is, let's see if I can use the cutter on this plier to actually cut it out, but I think I'll need scissors. So are there any scissors? No, not here at the moment. So give me a while. Let me go grab some scissors and I will be back. Okay, now I'm back with a pair of snippers. So what we're going to do now is we are going to snip it out. Okay, there you go. And for this one, let me expose the rear a little. Okay, then you put in your cutter, you snip it off. So just make sure you must be very careful, okay, not to actually scratch your paintwork with the scissors. So now we'll move on to this one over here. So same thing. Let me snip off the edges so that okay. Okay, almost there. Okay, there it goes. And there's one more here. And there you have it. What we have done is we've actually removed everything on the car. So I'm going to go ahead to take the high top fenders, which will be this side. Okay, and I'm going to, just like the front fenders, all made out of clips, we are just going to push it in and secure it. So line up the holes. Okay, once you got them lined up, do not push it all in first. Make sure that everything is correct before you actually push it in. So once most of the holes have lined up, what we are going to do now is we are going to push the clips into the hole. You can hear those clipping noises to know that the clips are in. Give me a while. There's one missing here, which I'm going to use back the old clip. Okay, and once you have it in place, you just have to clip it in. Okay, there you go. There's one that's stuck here, so let me try to pry it out so that it can go in. Okay, this is what I mean when I say that you got to align the holes, because we have an example here. Okay, if you were to see here, you can see that this clip somehow did not manage to make its way into the hole behind, so it's sort of like stuck here because this clip and this clip they are fully in the hole. So now it's a bit hard to actually guide this thing in, but we'll try our best. So looks like we will have to push up hard. Okay, there you got it. It's in there. So now, okay, there you go. The clip has clipped into place. So make sure that all the clips are well positioned. And there's one more here. Okay, in. And there you have it. We've got the high top fender flares up, and you can see there's one problem here at the rear, which is these high top fender flares do not line up nicely with the bumper rear end cover trim. This is because this cover trim actually lines up nicely with the stock low end bumper flares. So now that we actually have installed these high top bumper flares for the Rubicon, we actually have to change this cap. They sell it online, Mopar online parts sells it, you know, to replace this cap so that this end cap actually lines up. But for our purpose, we will not be doing anything to it yet, because we will be changing the rear bumper to the Mopar metal steel rear bumper. So when that comes in, when we install it up, it's actually going to line up nicely. So let's leave it as it is now. And now let me go and grab my inner fender lining for these high top fenders. So give me a while. Okay, now grabbing the inner fender lining. As you can see, the tag is still on. Let me remove this tag. Okay, there we go. Let's leave it aside. We can now go ahead and push the inner liner in. Do not worry about breaking this thing. This thing is very flexible, so it's actually bendable. So what we got to do now is we got to actually try to position it nicely so that all the holes match up. you got to actually squeeze this, all these tabs behind. This is where the rivets will go later. So once we are let us slowly squeeze them in. Okay, and here also. Okay, yep, so now that it's more or less in, what we are going to do here is we are going to start to position this using the push clips that we have taken out the previous fender lining, so that some of this is secured in place. So from here onwards, let me try to find the holes, because you need to line them up properly. And okay, I don't think this is lined up properly, so I need to actually make some adjustments. It might be a little bit tight because like I said, these are new inner liners. Yep, wow, that's a lot of dust, but okay, we have found some holes aligned. So I'm going to go ahead to put in my push pin. So I'll start off by pushing in this one over here. Okay, push it in. There, I got it connected. So I'm going to take another push pin. I'm going to secure this part. Okay, and now let's see if all the other holes line up. Okay, you can see that now all these inner holes actually do line up to the holes over here and over here. So what we are going to do is we're going to take another push pin. Okay, we are going to fill up all the holes, and let me go and grab some more push pins, new ones, because some of them was actually destroyed previously. Okay, it's always important to have a bag of spares, so I have all the push pins I want in the world. So there we go. Now we are going to push it in. Okay, here. Okay, I think another 3 more will suffice. So there's one over here. Okay, and remember the one in front. So there's one more over here that you need to line up. And okay, push it in. Okay, and there's one more at the back. Before I forget, let me just use this. Okay, there's one more hole over here that has to line up with this cover. Okay, so once you line them up nicely, just have to push the pin through. So there you have it. Okay, and with that being said, we are 80% done, because we still have to do the riveting along these lines. And today I actually have my plastic rivet tool, so I'm not going to show you the hard plier way. So what I'm going to do now is taking my bag of rivets and my riveting tool over here, I'm going to proceed to put these rivets back into the hole. Let's start from, let me see. Okay, shall we start on this? Okay, so make sure that the holes are lined up before you actually so I can see the hole here. Okay, I think they are lined up. Okay, so once you actually have your first rivet in, we are going to go ahead and secure it. Okay, there you go. That's one rivet in. So now we'll proceed to do the other rivets slowly. Getting it aligned is a little bit difficult because I'm just getting those that I can see they are aligned in first before I actually okay, there you go, there's one more. And let's look at this. Sometimes you just have to wiggle it a bit to make the holes align. So once most of the holes are aligned, the rest of the holes will start to align themselves and you'll get easier as it goes along. So now these two are aligned. I'll go ahead to rivet them in. Okay. Okay, that's one, and here. Okay. Now I have two more rivets that I need to do. One will be here, like I say, trying to align it with the inner fender lining, because if you don't align it, there's no point doing this rivet, because it's just going to be a free hanging rivet. So this is aligned, and let's see if I can get this aligned. This is okay, let me see. Okay, and now we'll go ahead to rivet them in. Okay, and this one over here, the final one, and we are done. And you can see that now all you have to do is just take a snipper to snip off all these rivet heads to make them flush. And you can see that we have successfully installed a high top fender for the rear, and it's kind of solid. Okay, and you can see that the clearance once again is actually bigger, it's wider than the stock clearance on the stock fender flares. So I really do not have any idea why the export Rubicon models are still using the sport fenders. So with that being said, let's move on to the other side. And same as the previous part, for the other side, it's going to be exactly the same as this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a time lapse. And after we are done, we'll just take an overview shot for you guys to have a look at how much smaller our 32-inch mud terrain tires look now. So without further ado, let's get started on the other side. Now we are on the right-hand side of Emily's JL Rubicon, and this is still the stock sport fenders. Let us have a look at the two fenders here. You can see that this fenders is actually thinner. Okay, if you were to go to the other side, okay, you can see that these fenders are now beefier. So I'm going to take a measuring tape. I'm going to measure the two sides just to show you how much wider the high top fenders actually are. So if you can see, from the body all the way to the edge, this is around 13 cm. This is around 13 cm. We'll now go over to the stock fenders to have a look what is actually the width. So you can see that if you go out from the body, you can see that these fenders are actually only cutting off at about 10-11 cm. So about 10-11 over here, somewhere in the middle. So you realize that not only do the Mopar high top fenders actually make the fender higher to give more clearance, it actually also wider so that you can actually safely hide your wheels within the fender lines, within the fender walls, so that you don't get into trouble with the traffic police or the law enforcement. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take a time lapse, and I'm going to switch out this fender, and after I'm done with this whole Rubicon will be what you'll get if you were to buy a Rubicon in the US. So now we'll go ahead. now you can see we have done it. So without all the explanations and all the pointing out of things, you realize that it's actually very fast to be changing these high top fenders. And now you can see that the front and the back fenders are now what will you get if you were to buy a stock Rubicon in the States. So we are very happy that we can finally still achieve what we see in the advertisements, the posters, you know, of a Jeep JL Wrangler Rubicon. So now what you're left with is to actually trim these parts out with a snipper so that it is actually flat. If not, you're going to have a hard time washing it. You are going to injure your hands. So what you got to do is we'll just take a snipper, try as flat as possible, try to snip it off. Okay, and okay, last one, and we'll go over to the other side to do the same. Okay, so now we are done, and let us clear up everything. Going to put old fenders back into the boxes, and then we are going to park the car properly in a lighted place. As you can see, it's getting dark. We always do our videos somewhere around the late afternoon, so if it drags on too long, it's going to be a little bit dark. So what we're going to do is let us pack it up, and then we're going to park the car nicely, and we'll do a shoot around the car to show you guys what is the after effects of installing the Mopar high top fenders. And I'll be right back.